Hello, hello, my friends, and welcome back. My name is Robin Norgren, and I am here because I am sharing a series on the saints. I have grown up as a Protestant, so I did not have a lot of understanding or awareness of the saints, and so I thought I will start going more into the liturgical aspects of what sainthood means. Who are these people that have been called saints, and how did they get on the road to sainthood? I myself have a theological degree. I went to Fuller Theological Seminary. So a lot of the liturgical pieces and the creeds I'm very much aware of. But when it comes to this area of sainthood, I am a novice. And so if this is something you're interested in learning about, I am using the book A Saint a Day by Meredith Hines. And what I'm doing is I'm taking 5 saints and I'm using her format and then giving a little synopsis at the end. So stay tuned if this is something that seems very interesting to you. And I'll put little notes up here in the corner. All right, the first one that I'm going to talk about is Saints Timothy and Titus. And the Bible verse I'm going to start with is Ecclesiastes 4:12. Though one might prevail against another, 2 will withstand one. A 3-fold cord is not quickly broken. God gave Paul a huge task. He sent Paul to share the news about Jesus with the Gentiles, that is, anyone who wasn't Jewish. Paul couldn't do this alone. Timothy and Titus, both of whom were Gentiles, became 2 of Paul's trustworthy companions. In Paul's letters, he wrote about Timothy and Titus, thanking God for them and putting whole churches in their care. Timothy and Titus visited and encouraged churches, even though they were threatened by people who hated Jesus. Together, Timothy, Titus, and Paul spread the word about Jesus around the world. Here's an interesting note. The New Testament books 1st and 2nd Timothy and Titus were letters written from St. Paul to Saints Timothy and Titus, respectively. Jesus 3 can accomplish more than one person alone. Please show me who am I supposed to team up with to serve you. What a beautiful prayer. The next one we're thinking about is Saint Angela Merici. Acts 20:35 says, "In all this I have given you an example that by such work we must support the weak, remembering the words of Lord Jesus, for he himself said, 'It's more blessed to give than receive.'" When Angela returned to her hometown, she didn't like what she saw. Angela had been orphaned 10 years before and had grown up in her uncle's house, where she enjoyed reading, learning, and growing in her faith. When Angela came back to her town as an adult, she saw that the young girls of her town were just left to themselves throughout the day. The girls needed direction and the opportunity to read and pray together. They needed an excellent teacher. So, Angela decided to do something about it. She took the girls into her care, opening their eyes to the truths in the gospel and in the world. St. Angela Merici told her students that they had a need to serve the poor. According to Angela, their need to serve was more desperate than a starving person's need for food. Wow. Jesus, help me see needs in my community and meet them, just as St. Angela Merici did. Help me know that one of my own needs is to meet the needs of others. Saint number 3 is St. Thomas Aquinas. 1 Chronicles 22:19. Now set your mind and heart to seek the Lord your God. Thomas was curious. One of his favorite questions to ask at school was, "What is God?" He asked his teachers over and over. Turns out, Thomas would dedicate his life to answering the questions he started asking as a young boy. Over the course of his life, he wrote almost 60 books. One of those books, a book with many volumes, is called the Summa Theologica, a masterpiece of thoughtful and complete responses to very difficult questions about God, the universe, and life as a Christian. Thomas argued that all knowledge, whether gained by faith or by reason, ultimately comes from God. Christians remember Thomas as one of the greatest thinkers of all time. He gave his whole mind to answering questions, all for the glory of God. Jesus, I want to ask good questions for your glory. Help me work hard for you. Wow, this is a powerhouse of saints. Would you agree? All right, so we've done St. Timothy and Titus, St. Angela Merici, St. Thomas Aquinas, Saint number 4, and this is a person who is on track to become a saint. So at this point, he's called Servant of God. Servant of God, Brother Juniper. Psalm 132:9. Let your priests be clothed with righteousness, and let your faithful shout for joy. When Brother Juniper looked at his clothing, he didn't think, I like this color, or I would love to have 3 more of these. He just thought about people who needed his help and the ways he could give his clothing away. On many days, Brother Juniper left his church and returned without a coat. When the priest in charge of Brother Juniper asked where his coat was, Brother Juniper simply replied, I gave it away. This happened so frequently that the priest told Brother Juniper that he needed to start keeping his cloaks and tunics, but Juniper still didn't prevent anyone from just taking them. Even though he didn't bother to keep track of his cloaks, he knew he was clothed with righteousness. Servant of God, Brother Juniper would give almost anything away, even things that other priests considered very important. Jesus, I want to give freely to people who need my help, just as Servant of God, Brother Juniper did. And finally, we have another person who is on track for sainthood. Blessed Mary Angela Truszkowska. James 1:27. Religion that is pure and undefiled before God the Father is this, to care for orphans and widows in their distress. On the way to her church, Mary and Angela passed a child dressed in rags. She knew that the child had no home and no one to teach him about Jesus. Mary Angela loved this child and other children like him. She went to church every day to pray for them. One day it occurred to her that Jesus had provided someone to teach these children and give them a home, Mary Angela herself. The next day, she reached her hand out and asked the children to come to her home. She took them to the church and taught them about Jesus. Mary Angela gathered other women who wanted to help children in need, and they became the Felician Sisters, women who cared for children without homes and other people in need. Jesus, I want to help people just as Blessed Mary Angela Truszkowska did. Help me give to those in need. Let's put a bonus one in here, shall we? St. John Bosco. Matthew 19:14. Let the little children come to me and do not stop them, for it is to such that the kingdom of heaven belongs. A crowd of wonderstruck boys gathered in a circle around a young boy named John. He performed for the little crowd. He juggled, he sang. And he amazed them with magic tricks. The performer led up to his grand finale, words from the priest on Sunday, repeated for his audience. Only a few months before, the same group of boys bullied John. Now they hung on his every word. John told his mother that he was going to be a priest who gave time and attention to the littlest of the churchgoers, including the unruly boys. John's dream came true. He became a priest who cared for all children, boys and girls, rich and poor, well-behaved and otherwise. St. John Bosco ran a school that included a carpentry workshop and a shoemaking shop. Jesus, you love all children. Help me care for the other children around me, no matter who they are and how they act. All right, so I will have to just speak very boldly, vulnerably, I guess, about these first 31 saints that I have covered so far. It has just been humbling, mind-blowing, the gratitude that's just raising up in me as I read about them and read about just their ordinary everyday acts. I'm just reminded of how much just a little bit of what you can't do everything, right? You can't save everybody. You can't reach everybody, but there is enough within our own sphere, our house, our community, our church, that if each one were just to do the capacity of what's right there in front of them, how far-reaching it can be, how close to sainthood we'd all be. So I just want to thank you for coming along this journey with me. I hope that you are enjoying it. We've got 30 down and 335 more saints to go, and I hope you'll come along with me. Thanks for stopping by.